What's up guys, welcome back to Toon Duelists. Today I'm going to show you the last deck of our first poll we did, which is our Fur Hire Runick deck profile. Now I'm really excited to show you this one guys. It's a great fusion of two decks I really love. I always loved the Fur Hire deck. I played a pure Fur Hire build for most of the time, and well, I think it was mid-23 where I discovered that the Runick Fur Hire deck is really awesome and those cards work perfectly together, and today I'm going to show you how. So without further ado, let's dive right into it. As always, we start with the monsters, and the first monster we're going to talk about is Rex Fright Fur Hire. This little guy is a combo piece, combo starter, extender. Very important card in this deck, because if this card is normal or special summoned, you can add one spell trap Fur Hire from your deck to your hand. Also, during the main phase, if you control a monster Fur Hire, quick effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard, then target one card Fur Hire in your graveyard, either add it to your hand or special summon it if it was a monster, and you can only use each effect of Rex once per turn. This card does it all. It's a really important card in this build and definite 3-off. Next monster is also very important. It's Beat Bladesman Fur Hire. Also important combo piece and searcher. It has the typical effect for all level 4 or lower Fur Hires, which is during your main phase you can special summon one monster Fur Hire from your hand, except Beat. And if a monster Fur Hire is special summoned to your field while you control this monster, you can add one monster Fur Hire from a deck to your hand, except itself, and you can only use each effect once per turn. So it's a searcher, it's an extender, very important card for all your Fur Hire combos. Next up, let's talk about the monster Fur Hire one-offs. The first one is Philo, Messenger Fur Hire. Has the typical summon effect from your hand, and if a Fur Hire monster is special summoned while this card is on the field, you can special summon one monster Fur Hire in your graveyard in defense position. So also great extender, important for all your link plays. Next up is Donpa Marksman Fur Hire. Really important card because of course it has a special summon effect like all level 4 lower Fur Hire monsters do. But if a monster Fur Hire is special summoned to your field while you control this monster, you can target one face-up card on the field and destroy it. This card is really important in combination with Folgo to let you draw 3 cards during your opponent's turn. So really important combo piece, but we can search it out really easy, so one-off is really enough. Next one is Seal Strategist Fur Hire. Now this card isn't really that important, but it can also help you extend your plays and go into your higher link ranks, because if a monster Fur Hire is special summoned to your field while you control this monster, you can target one monster Fur Hire in your graveyard and add it to your hand. And since all level 4 or lower Fur Hire monsters have the effect that they can special summon Fur Hire monsters from their hand, it's basically a little bit worse than Philo, but still a great extender in this deck. Next up is the first boss monster of the Fur Hires, which is Wiz Sage Fur Hire. Now this card is really awesome and helps you in timeout, because if this card is special summoned you can gain 500 life points for each monster Fur Hire you control with a different name, and I've had this plenty of times. It can help you really win in timeout. Also, when your opponent activates a spell trap card or effect, quick effect, you can discard one card Fur Hire, negate the activation, which is also really great. And the last monster Fur Hire we run is Rafale Champion Fur Hire. Now this card is also awesome, because if it is special summoned you can excavate the top cards of your deck equal to the number of monsters Fur Hire you control with different names except himself, and if you do, add one of them to your hand, also shuffle the rest back into your deck. So this card lets you go +1 and can also be an important combo piece, and of course also a great negate, because when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can discard one card Fur Hire, negate the activation. Overall awesome card and definite one-off, because of course it's easy searchable with Beat. The final cards are pretty basic. We of course run 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. I don't have to explain that one, best hand trap in the game. And finally we also run 2 Nibiru. Depending on your matchup, this card can also be easily sided out, but it has proven to be a pretty good card. Of course, you can also replace it with other hand traps, but I'm pretty happy with Nibiru so far. So guys, that's it for the monsters. Let's move on to the spells. So the first spell I want to talk about is Runick Fur Hire. This card is really awesome because it lets you tribute one monster and special summon one monster for hire from your hand or deck whose level is one higher or one lower than the tributed monster had on the field. You cannot declare attacks the turn you activate this card except with monsters for hire. Now the last part doesn't bother us, most of the time we won't have our battle phase anyways because of the Runick cards, but this card is especially insane if you think about that you only have to tribute a monster, it doesn't have to be a Fur Hire monster. So for example, our Runick fusions can be tributed as well, we don't have much use for most of them once they're special summoned anyways, and also if you search this card out with Rex is a level 2, so you can go into 2 of your important combo pieces, either Beat or you can go into Philo, so really great card and definite 2 of. We only need 2 because it's easily searchable. And the last Fur Hire spell we run is Mayhem Fur Hire. You can target one Fur Hire monster in your graveyard, special summon it in defense position, and you can only activate one Mayhem Fur Hire per turn. It's just a great extender, searchable with Rex, decent card and a solid one-off. Next up we run 3 Fossil Dig just so we can search out our Rex. As I mentioned, one of our combo starters, so we basically play 6 Rex in this deck, which is awesome. Next up, let's start with the Runick spells, and the first one we talk about is the heart and soul of this deck, which is Runick Fountain. Now this field spell is really important because it lets you activate Runick Quick Spell cards from your hand during your opponent's turn, which is amazing. Also, once per turn, if you activate a Runick Quick Spell, you can target up to 3 Runick Quick player spells in your graveyard, place them on the bottom of your deck in any order and then draw the same number of cards. Of course, currently semi-limited, so that's the reason we only run 2 of course, but really important card in this deck for sure. Let's start with the Runick Quick Spells, and the first we talk about is Runick Tip. Now as you can see, I only own 1 Runick Tip at the moment. I would love to run 3 because if you activate Runick Tip you can choose one of those effects and you have to skip your next battle phase. Now let me get this out of the way, all Runick Quick Spells have the same effect because you can only choose between 2 effects. One of these effects is always special summon 1 Runick monster from your extra deck to the extra monster zone, and you always have to skip your next battle phase after you activated the Runick Quick Spell. But this one also lets you add 1 Runick card from your deck to your hand except Runick Tip itself, and then you banish the top card from your opponent's deck. Really important, General Searcher can search us Fountain or any other Runick Quick Spell we need. Awesome card. Next Runick card we talk about is Runick Freezing Curses. Very important one because besides the other 2 already mentioned effects, this card lets you target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects until the end of this turn, and then you banish the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. So monster effect negate from the hand during your opponent's turn, awesome card and definite 3 off. Next up is Runick Flashing Fire. Also solid 3 off because this card lets you target a special summoned monster your opponent controls, destroy it, and then banish the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. Awesome card, definite 3 off. Next up is Runick Destruction. This quick spell lets you destroy or target 1 spell or trap your opponent controls, destroy it, and then banish the top 4 cards of your opponent's deck. Not only does it banish 4 cards, which is pretty awesome already, but most decks nowadays rely on a field spell or something like that. So you can get rid of those. Really awesome card and definite 3 off. Next up, we run 2 copies of Runick Slumber. Now, this card lets you target 1 face-up monster on the field. The next time that monster would be destroyed by battle or card effect this turn, it is not destroyed. Also, it cannot attack this turn. Then, after applying this effect, you banish the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. This card is really great to protect our important monsters on the field, like Folgo for example. So really good card and definite 2 off. For the last 2 cards, we run 1 Runick Smithing Storm. This card basically lets you banish cards from the top of your opponent's deck up to the number of cards they control. Pretty basic, but can be really important. If your opponent's deck got low enough, you can win this way. And finally, we also run 1 Runick Dispelling. This card is also quite decent because if your opponent adds a card from their deck to their hand, except during the draw phase, you can discard 1 random card from the hand and then banish the top 2 cards of their deck. Not as amazing as the other runic spells, but pretty decent for sure. Guys, that's it for the main deck. Let's talk about the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're talking about the probably most important card in the extra deck, which is Hugin the Runick Wings. You can special summon this card with any runic quick spell, of course. And if this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you can discard one card and add one runic field spell from your deck to your hand. So searches you out Fountain, which is very important because without Fountain, we're going to be in trouble. Also, if another card or cards you control would be destroyed by card effect, you can banish this card you control instead. If this card on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect, you return this card to the extra deck. Basically, it's just a search for our runic Fountain and can be used as link material for our Fur Hire link monsters. So decent card, and 2 are really enough. Next up, we run 1 Munin the Runick Wings. If this card is special summoned, you can discard 1 card and add 1 runic continuous spell from your deck to your hand. This is pretty useless because we don't run a continuous runic spell. But when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a runic card you control or a set card you control, quick effect, you can banish this card you control, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. So both of those fairies help us protect our Fountain. Also, once per turn during the end phase, you gain 1000 life points. This is also pretty important during timeout, might come in handy, but I'm going to be honest with you, most of the time you will go with Hugin instead. Next up, we run 1 Gary the Runick Fangs. This card cannot be destroyed by card effects, and if this card is special summoned from the extra deck, you can target 1 non-quick play runic spell in your graveyard and add it to your hand. When this card is destroyed by battle, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. So this card is really important because if your runic Fountain gets destroyed, Gary can bring it back to your hand again. The last runic fusion monster we run is Sleipnir the Runick Mane. This card has the effect that during your main phase or your opponent's battle phase, quick effect, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, banish both that monster and this card until the end phase. So nice disruption during your opponent's turn or during your own turn if you have some annoying cards there. Also, if a card is added from the main deck to your opponent's hand, except during the damage step, you can special summon 1 runic token in attack position. Now this is really great because this also applies for the draw phase and helps you generate tokens you can use later for link plays or your opponent just has to run into. So in some situations this card can really come in handy. Next up is the heart and soul of the extra deck, which is Folgo Justice Fur Hire. You will always want to get this guy out. This link 3 monster requires 3 monsters with different types and cannot be used as link material. If this card is link summoned, you can special summon 1 monster Fur Hire with a different type from the 3 monsters used for the link summon from your deck in defense position. And if a card or cards your opponent control is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can draw 1 card. Then if you control 3 or more monsters Fur Hire with different names, draw 2 additional cards. This card is really insane because we have plenty of options to destroy our opponent's cards, either through our runic quick spells or through our own Fur Hire effect monsters. And it's also not a problem to have 3 different Fur Hire monsters on the field, so it lets you have an insane card advantage. It's just awesome and a really important card in this deck. Next up, we run the last Fur Hire monster in the extra deck, which is Donna Dagger Fur Hire. This card is also very important for most of your combos. It requires 2 monsters with different types and it has 2 effects. Either you can target 1 monster Fur Hire you control and 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy them. Can be decent, but you most of the time will use the second effect because you contribute 1 monster, special summon 1 monster Fur Hire from your hand or graveyard with a different original name than a tributed monster. Then, if you tributed a link monster to activate this effect, you can special summon 1 more such monster. And you have to keep in mind you can also tribute Donner itself. So this card is really important to reorder the game state, reorder your board so you can have all of the effects of your Fur Hire monsters go off and just extend your play so you can go into Folgo. Really important card and very important combo piece. So for the last 6 extra deck monsters, we also run 1 Scareclaw Tryhard. This card is also very handy in this deck. It requires 3 effect monsters, must be link summoned, and all face-up monsters on the field are changed into defense position. this doesn't bother us at all because most of the time we won't be able to use our battle phase anyways. It is also unaffected by the activated effects of defense position monsters, so really helps to prevent your opponent from attacking and gives you more time to either make the deck run out or build up your own game. Awesome card. Next up, we also run one Access Code Talker. I don't have to explain this guy. This Link 4 monster can power itself up until 5,300 attack points to just run over your opponent and also destroy their cards. Really, really awesome card and helps you finish the game too. Next up, we also run one Underworld Goddess of the Closed World. This Link 5 monster needs 4 or more effect monsters, and you can also use one monster your opponent controls as material to link summon this card, which is already insane. But also, if this card is link summoned, you can negate the effects of all face-up monster your opponent currently controls, which is also breathtaking. This link summon card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects unless they target this card, and once per turn when your opponent activates a card or effect that special summons a monster from the graveyard, quick effect, you can negate the activation. Now, it's also a big body with 3000 attack points. Awesome card that helps you to further gain control of the game state and of the board. Really awesome card. Next up, we also run one IP Masquerena. I think everyone knows this card. Just lets you synchro summon during your opponent's turn. Really awesome card. And for example, you can then link summon one Nightmare Unicorn, which lets you shuffle one card your opponent controls back into the deck, so also nice disruption with those two during your opponent's turn. And the last card in the extra deck we run is one number 29 Mannequin Cat. Now we have a decent amount of level 2 monsters, for example Huggin or Rex, and we run them pretty often, so it basically can happen that we also go into an Xyz play. This card has the effect that once per turn you can detach one material from this card, then target one monster in your opponent's graveyard and special summon it to your opponent's field. If a monster is special summoned to your opponent's field while you control this monster, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls and special summon one monster with the same type or attribute from your hand, deck or graveyard. So this card can really help you to just extend your plays if you're having any trouble to get into your higher link plays. Really decent card. To be honest, I haven't used it that much, so if you have any other suggestions, you can just replace Mannequin Cat, but I think it's a really decent card in this deck. Guys, that's it for the extra deck. So that's it for today's deck profile. I really hope you enjoyed. Trust me, these two archetypes work perfectly fine together. Runick and Fur Hire, it's like they made for each other. Really awesome deck. You can also really take this to locals or tournaments. I tried it out the last few weeks and it really works pretty well. It can be complicated playing from time to time, but definitely a decent deck. If you want to know how to play it exactly, I'll also upload a combo video the following days, so stay tuned and subscribe so you don't miss that one. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you like the content, and until next time, have a good one.